Welcome back to First Take, where we have breaking news. Moments ago, our Adam Schefter tweeted, Chargers center Tyler Biadasz is out indefinitely after suffering damage to his ACL and additional injuries to his left knee during Tuesday's joint practice against the 49ers. Biadasz will meet with more doctors to try to get more clarity. Mike T, you have been high on Justin Herbert. How big of an impact is this injury?
Unfortunately, Kmart, it's huge, and let me tell you why. Mike McDaniel came over, the former head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Alec Ingold came over, a really good fullback. They have Omarion Hampton. This was a team that wanted to run the ball, play a little bit more traditional two-back, one tight end, and that's something that they should have been able to do at a pretty high level. Last year, they lost Rashawn Slater, the really good tackle out of Northwestern, and when you thought about Slater, Joe All, and Biadasz, that was the makings of a really good offensive line. That was going to be the foundation of what I thought was going to be an outstanding offense, because if Justin Herbert's protected with a really good two-back run game, now all of a sudden that gives up play action. You're more well-protected. It takes advantage of what Herbert could do, which is drive the ball down the field. Look, it's not catastrophic in terms of hopefully they could overcome it, but this is a very significant injury.
Yeah, I remember they lost Alt last year, too. He didn't play half the season,
that's right.
The two tackles. Now, you know the offensive line. You know the personnel, the both of you, very, very well. I don't know enough about the kid. But the overall theme for me, the Chargers never get a break. Yep. I mean, that would be the overall theme. You know, I don't like where they play at SoFi. They don't get a home field advantage. You know, they've had to play 2 playoff games on a road. They're in a tough division. They've had a million injuries. They have receivers and everything else. Mike Williams never played. He always got hurt. They lost a safety one year, the kid from Florida State. He didn't play either. I mean, they never get a break. And here's another example, Michael, of not getting a break.
They did draft Jake Slaughter at University of Florida, one of the best college centers last year, so that's something to know. They do have depth there. But this is a disaster. Rashawn Slater, by the way, has still missed a bunch of practices this training camp, so the tackles aren't even fully healthy this year. This was supposed to be the year it all came together with Mike McDaniel, with those run game designs, with the way that he was going to be protected. Last year, Justin Herbert threw more interceptions than anybody in the NFL when he was under pressure. He cannot be under pressure like he was last year for this version of the Chargers team. This is, I didn't believe in sports curses until about 10 minutes ago when I saw this tweet.
They are unlucky.
All right, to kind of sum up how bad these injuries are. So the Chargers' offensive line injuries from last year. Rashawn Slater missed the entire season with a torn patellar tendon. Joe Alt played 6 games. He had ankle surgery. And the Chargers' offensive line had the worst pass block win rate in the NFL last season. So for a team that a quarterback we have very high hopes for, we are hoping that they're able to figure it.
Back on Get Up, I'm hearing the guesses flying around the studio. I'm going to tell you ahead of time, it isn't close. So in the years between when Randy Moss left Minnesota and Justin Jefferson got there, in those seasons in between, who caught the most touchdown passes for the Vikings? And again, while I'm hearing a lot of names getting thrown out here, the answer is there's this person and then there's a huge drop-off to anybody else.
Well, I would like to say good morning to Bernard Berrien and Troy Williamson. Your names were both mentioned in the commercial break. However, I'm going to go with the tight end for many years, from Christian Ponder right through to Joe Webb. I'm going to say Kyle Rudolph is my answer.
Kyle Rudolph is correct.
Let's go!
That's it?
Got it. Okay, Schrager! Let's go.
He had 47. Stephon Diggs had 30. Adam Thielen had 25. I heard Thielen's name thrown around a lot in here. Look at Mike. He can't believe it. Hembo goes down. All right, back with more Camp Cam, showing you the best plays from around NFL training camps. Hey, Dominique, how about Jalen Coker? A little one-hand grab here. Take me through what we see from this receiver.
I appreciate, that's incredible concentration. And I like this one-handed grab because the other ones got DBs draped all over them, and that embarrasses me for my guys. This one, no DB there to be ashamed. You just got there a little late.
J-Mac, how about, give me your own. George Pickens had a nice grab in camp as well. Let me see George Pickens. Here we come.
I feel like George Pickens
Every day,
had just a ton of grabs. Oh my goodness. Just how he's able to allow the ball to get in there.
Yeah.
See, Dominic, this is what you're
that's
talking
the ones
about.
I don't like. I don't like those ones.
It is great coverage, but it's just a better catch. George Pickens, oh my goodness.
The casualness, right? There's just some so casual.
You know, they say late hands. This man just late hand. It was just one. That's really tough to do. Just a one late hand.
The level of talent is just it's mind-boggling to see what these guys are doing. 23 days away from the start of the NFL season. So, I am one who tends to always ponder, well, what's the worst thing that can happen? Let's look at the other side. Let's consider the best case scenario. Traeger, I'm starting with you. If the Vikings get the best version of Kyler Murray, then what?
Well, Greeny, the Arizona Cardinals were like 10-0 a couple of years ago, and Kyler Murray was riding in the pilot seat for the MVP award before he went down with an injury and the season went askew. They could compete for the NFC North. I don't think they're a Super Bowl team right now. I need to see something from Kyler Murray. However, when he's at his very best, and he has been at his very best as an NFL player, there might be no more dynamic player in the league. We just haven't seen it in 3 or 4 years.
So I guess what I'm saying is that seems, I want to say, tepid.
I'm not going to say they're going to compete for the NFC. They're going to compete for the division.
But he does, because I've had people up here telling me, if Kyler Murray plays great, this team can be thinking Super Bowl thoughts. You're not thinking that way.
The rest of the roster is very talented, and Sam Darnold had them as a high seed when he played at. I need to see something from Kyler before we can immediately put him in the same conversation as Darnold a few years ago, who was an MVP candidate.
What do you guys think?
No, I mean, I think if Kyler is at his best, this offense is incredible. But it seems like the last few years, defense has been so important for the championship team. And I know Brian Flores always has a really good defense, but they have some questions on that side of the ball. When we see that defense, if it's as good and explosive as it's been in the past, which it started to wane a little bit last year, then I think they are a Super Bowl contender. But if Kyler can have that offense rolling, if he's playing at his top level, then they're as good as anybody.
It's a very good division. Let me get another one here. I want to get them all in. Neek, the Texans, if they get the best version of C.J. Stroud, what can they be?
Oh, pack it up. They winning the champs, Super Bowl championship, all of it. They getting champagne in their clothes for weeks. That defense is incredible, and it got better. They added Reed Blankenship, they had Caden McDonald in the draft. It's the most fun defense to watch. And if Stroud is at his best with a healthy Nico Collins, Higgins is playing incredibly well opposite him. They're getting back. It seems like Tank Dell is going to come back. If he plays his best and their offense is really, really good.
Okay, me?
It's easy. That defense, you saw what they did last year? They should have won the Super Bowl last year, considering how good their defense was, or at least won the game that they lost to the Pats.
Jason knows this. I like to always make a Super Bowl pick right before the start of the season. I'm telling you, I think the Houston Texans might be.
So are you saying you're picking the Houston Texans?
I think not yet. Let me wait.
Okay,
I
was just making sure.
I think I'm with Nick on this. I think they might be my favorite out of the AFC. Their defense is so good, and if Stroud plays like he did year one, and Nick Caley, I had him on my podcast last week. He was talking about how the two of them are really. There's no weakness on this roster.
I'm trying to poke holes. I really like their defense.
Yeah.
C.J. Stroud, you think about it. He threw 4 interceptions in the playoff game against the New England Patriots in Foxborough. And they still had a chance to win that game because of how dominant this defense was. So you mentioned it, year 2 in the same offensive system. I've talked to Nick. They said C.J. Stroud has been completely locked in since the spring of learning and mastering this entire defense. So, yes, the Houston Texans are going to be fun. I'm just excited. He just disregarded the Rams, who we've talked about all offseason, and said,
get them all out of here.
Champagne.
You said the best version of C.J. Stroud in the way that Jalen Higgins is playing opposite Nico Collins. Like the best version? Yeah.
By the way, even with Aaron Donald, I still want the Texans defense over the Rams defense. Everyone says it's the best defense ever. No, the Texans right now are a better defense.
Rams, Texans, Super Bowl, scoreless tie. That's right. Time. We'll see. J-Mac, one more. If the Bengals, this is their best case scenario, they get a healthy Joe Burrow all season long. What are they?
We're looking at a team that's competing with the Baltimore Ravens and say we're going to be the division champs. I love this team, especially on the offensive side with Joe Burrow. They've made improvements on the defense. I still have to see exactly what this defense looks like before we start saying, all right, this is a team that's going to represent the AFC and play in the Super Bowl. But Joe Burrow out there is just such a difference maker physically and mentally.
Dexy has made them a sexy pick. They also have an easy schedule, comparatively speaking. Are you one of these Bengals believers?
Yeah, I'm a believer in the Bengals right now, given what they're doing right now. I think Cassius Howell, the young player who also was dinged for having short arms, seems to be pretty effective. It doesn't really matter. So between him and Ruben Bain, next year some short arm guy's going to get drafted super high. But I think that defense is the question. Like if they have a healthy quarterback, they'll be great. But the real question is, can they stop people?
What do you think?
There's so much additions on the defense that it's hard not to get excited. What I also